Hello everybody and welcome on into youtube.com/SeannosaurusRex. I guess that's just a channel in general. My name is Sean. I wore a festive shirt because the channel just turned 7 years old. That's right, I've been making content for 7 years, which is mind-boggling and proved to be quite the brain problem when I kept thinking I started in 2017 and then I couldn't figure it out because I had looked up the previous videos I've done like this and it's like 5 years in running and 6 years in running. I was like, okay, so naturally 5 and then 6 and then 7, but then technically 2025 would be 8 if you think you started in 2017 and it's 4:32 in the morning and it's like my brain's melting. It's like, oh, all of this is wrong because I started in 2018 and I'm continuing now. It's now 2025. I've been doing this kind of video for a couple of years now where I like to take a look back at the previous year. Every year I just look at 2024. No, we take a look back at the previous year, give you some fun things to look forward to for the upcoming year. And, you know, then we'll end it up by watching the original episode of Week in Review. Look, I have it all queued up right here. There it is. A proud debut. Week in Review episode number 1. We'll watch that, and I'm sure I'll tell you the same stories that I've already told you. But welcome in. Thank you so much for watching. Whether you've watched for a little bit of time, a long bit of time, doesn't matter. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I'm having fun making the content, and I'm looking forward to making more in the coming year. I'll talk about that in a little bit. But first, what I wanted to do, and I think I lost my page because I was taking notes on something else. First, I want to take a quick look at 2024 with some brief statistics. When I did the video last year, I remember specifically setting out some things. It seems weird to create goals for something that I can't actively control. I don't have control of your mouse to drag it down to the subscribe button, but it is just kind of like, I guess, more of a hope and a hope and a dream and a prayer of a number of subscribers that I would have liked to have seen or would have been cool to see. We had great progress in 2023. Which was fantastic. We crossed 2,000 subscribers, and so I kind of looked and came up with some numbers that I thought would be attainable in the year of 2024. If I remember correctly, as I'm trying to find the specific notes, the goal number or the hope number was 2,500. 2,750 is a bit of a stretch goal, and then it was 3,000 as kind of like the dream number would be to add about 1,000 subscribers in a 12-month period. I thought that would be kind of cool. And we didn't quite do that. We're currently sitting at 2,830 subs, which is incredible, and I'm very happy with it. Thank you so much for subscribing. What's interesting, though, is the beginning of the year got off to a bit of a slow start. And it took a little bit for things to get into a rhythm, but once we got into a rhythm, or I got into a rhythm, or you got into a rhythm, whatever happened, once that rhythm hit, it actually was a really good chunk of the year between about late April to mid-September. Every 4 weeks or so, we were crossing another 100 off the board. So it was, you know, when we go into that late April portion, it's like, okay, it's 2100 subscribers. To give context to that, January 17th, which is the closest date I have to the previous years in running, was 2027. So it took a while to even get to that 2100, but you kind of start clipping through a little bit. It's actually not as good as I thought it was. Whoopsie daisy. I guess it would actually be early June to mid-September. You start clipping through. You know, you get to 21 in April, you get to 22 in mid-June, but then you have 23 in July, 24 in July again. And it clips through like some of those numbers for, you know, like I was saying, about an average of about every 4 weeks or so, to the point where once we got to early to mid-September, I'm looking at it going like, well, this is possible. 3,000 is like kind of attainable, but unfortunately, and I don't know why it was this, but I did notice it specifically mid-September, September 14th, I believe was when the Apple Cup was. I went to Seattle with hopes and dreams and then watched the Cougars win the Apple Cup, which was kind of a dream in the first place, and then came back and I noticed that it started to trickle a lot slower toward the end of the year. Fortunately for me, the beginning of this year, spoiler alert, I guess, for next year's video has actually been really good. So thank you so much. It is a weird thing to talk about, and I'm sure I mentioned this in the last video as well, where you're talking about a thing where you want more, but you need to appreciate like what you have. And obviously I'm very appreciative to everyone who's subscribed. I hope that is obvious when I'm talking about this sort of thing. But I think it's that weird push and pull of like, I'm really happy that it did this, but I would have liked it to do a little bit more, because I am proud of the content that I make, and I want to make the content. I want people to enjoy it and more people to see it and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I'm just super grateful. I believe the specific number was 804 new subscribers. I think we ended at 31, but the numbers were updated. Sometimes people unsubscribe, it happens. But that's the first thing that I wanted to do, is just thank you for subscribing. I really appreciate it. I'm sure I've said that several times already. I will say it several more times, because it is wild to me. It's kind of interesting to think about it in the context of like, I advertise the videos that I do. I'm more advertised like the taste tests specifically. And I kind of just throw it up as like a, hey, click it if you want. If not, no big deal sort of thing. And sometimes it is like kind of jarring to go like, oh, people like did that. people followed through and watched that. And that's a little bit weird. The other thing that I thought would be interesting, but I'm appreciative of it. I feel like I kind of jumped that sentence a little bit quickly. But and while we're still in the year of 2024, and while I find some notes, there it is. Thankfully, my bookmark was in that spot. I wanted to share with you the top 10 videos, view-wise, of 2024. This is accurate as of January 22nd, 2025. So if you're in there counting all the beans, going, ooh, you said this one had this, and it changed, maybe someone watched it. The 10th most popular video of the year was Shadows of Doubt, which is an interesting one and kind of goes into, it's going to tie into a piece a little bit later. So keep that video in mind. It had 457 views. I'm glad that it did well. Obviously, I'm happy when any of the videos get views. Sometimes I get why they don't get views, but sometimes they are very pleasant surprises, like Shadows of Doubt. An interesting game. It came out previously in like early access on PC back in May, and we were very excited about it. And we finally got it on Series, but it was the Xbox Series consoles. It wasn't a very good port. It was very bad. It should have been released in game preview, but they didn't. But either way, 457 views. Great. Thanks so much. That was a video that we recorded the day the game came out, and it went up the very next day. Again, keep that kind of just in the back of your mind as we work through some of these videos, and then a little bit more in the future. So just you don't have to think about it like consistently, but just stick with it. Keep it in there. Lock it. The 9th most popular video, and this is actually, of all the videos that are on this channel or on this list, this one is the one that I'm happiest for, because it is the peanut butter and jelly M&M video with my nieces. 461 views. Thank you so much for watching it. I'm glad that it caught on. That again was another similar to the Shadows of Doubt. It was the first time I had seen it, bought it. We were prepped to do the candy cane video, but a couple kids came down with like a little bit of a stomach thing, so we kind of pushed that off. But I had the two nieces who felt better, and we had a couple of the M&Ms, and I'm just glad that people enjoyed it. They jumped in. I like that they wanted to do it, and make the video and try it real quick. And it was a quick and easy process and fun to do. So really happy that one did well. That's the video I am happiest about. Number 8 on our list is another taste test. It's the Cereal Extravaganza 2024 with 543 views. This was a random assortment of cereals. Kind of I don't know if it was like a last minute thing or if I was trying to do some cleaning or something, but it was one that I didn't anticipate was really going to do all that well, because I don't think anything was super timely on it, but it just kind of like worked out that well. Or worked out the way that it worked out, I guess, was the way you would phrase it. Kind of weird. But I'm glad that it did well. Sometimes it helps to go in with like no expectations. I think the pink, what do they call it? The pink edition, that's the word, for the Red Bull is a good example of a video that I've posted this year. And I'm like, man, this is going to do numbers and people should be excited about it. But it has a bit of a weird release, but I was hoping that it would catch on. And then it didn't really do anything. So sometimes it's best to just go in with little to no expectations. Number 7 on our list had 693 views. Don't you like when I switch up how I tell you what it is? It is Driver Parallel Lines number 8, in nearly direct opposition to the Shadows of Doubt, which was recorded the night before and posted the next day. This is a game from nearly 20 years ago, and it pulled 693 video views. Not only is it a game from that long ago, it is the 8th episode in a series, which is just so bizarre. There was a weird thing that I noticed throughout the year where once you get kind of a few videos in, for whatever reason, like the 3rd, 4th, maybe the 5th episode kind of do a little bit better. Like almost like the algorithms are noticing that you are committed as a creator to this specific thing. It's not 100% accurate, but it was a thing that I was like, oh, that one. The first couple didn't do super well, but that 3rd one kind of popped, or the first 3 and the 4th one was like a little odd. I think it's odder to see a video that is episode 8 of a series pop that much, just because it's so deep in the run. And, you know, typically it would be like first couple would do well and then just kind of drop. But hey, happy to see 600 plus, nearly 700 views on a 20-year-old video game, 8 episodes in. Whatever. Fun. Number 6 is kind of a fun one, kind of one that that sucks a little bit. Monster Hunter Beta. We're going to keep this video in mind as well. This was a last minute decision to go like, well, just give it a shot and see what happens. I would like to put something up for tomorrow. I don't really have anything, and sometimes you get stuck in that rut of just decision paralysis at times where it's like, well, I could do this, but it's in a weird spot where I have one open slot, but next week there's more stuff coming out and I want to fill this and that spot with those games, and it gets weird and kind of mangled, so you don't want to start anything, so you're looking for something that's a one-off, but nothing old sounds good. And it's a very weird intersection of about 19 different thoughts, and it leads to Monster Hunter Rise? I didn't write down the subtitle. Whatever the new one is coming out. This video did 737 views, which is great. It is the worst video I have ever made from a like to dislike ratio. It has a 17.6% like to dislike ratio. For those of you mathing at home, I'll give you the numbers. It's 9 thumbs up to 42 dislikes. People did not like this video. People gave it thumbs down, which is fine. People commented a lot being like, you've never made this game look so boring. Counterpoint, this game sucks and is boring. It's awful. I kind of just threw it up and saw just to see what would happen, and I guess that's what you get. If you do title it the way that I did, which was something along the lines of like, I did not enjoy this game or something like that. It wasn't super like dramatic of like, this game is the worst ever, blah, blah, blah. But it was still hopefully clickable clickbait, and people made their voices heard. Moving into the top 5, we have Arena Football, 893 views. I don't know exactly when this game came out, but it's approximately 20 years, somewhere between, it's either 2005 or 2006, so 19, 20 years. Similar to the Driver Parallel Lines video, where it's just kind of like, oh, that's weird. Two of the gaming videos have been day on, the next day it's up. You know what I mean? Like it's a very quick turnaround. These are games that are very old, and they're doing numbers. Arena Football, it was a one-off. It was kind of just something I bought. That game is not good, which is even more surprising. It's very bare bones, and just like, you're not looking for a review of Arena Football, but it's not a great game. The game doesn't even have commentary. It is bizarre. But that did 893 views, much to the surprise of me. With just 4 more views at 897, we had Trails Through Daybreak Demo Episode 1, The Legend of Heroes. I feel a little bit bad about this series. This was a video that I titled kind of the opposite of the Monster Hunter video where it's like, oh, the Monster Hunter video, I didn't enjoy this game at all. This one was, this demo surprised me, and it picked up 897 views, which is awesome. And I liked the game enough. I played about 8 or 9 parts of it, and it was still doing pretty well. But I made the mistake of moving that series from a Friday to a Monday, and what I should have done was gone like Friday, Friday, Monday. Instead, I went Friday, not that series, and then Monday it continued, so there was too long of a gap, about 10 days rather than 7 to like 3. And that effectively crushed that series. I was being really stubborn and kind of dumb with it, where I wanted to leave Friday open for brand new games, but I should have just stuck with what I had. And the worst part is I was enjoying the game. So I feel bad about that one, but it happens every once in a while. Sometimes you goof, you make a mistake, and that's how it goes. Number 3 was kind of a random one. We actually have, of the several taste test entries on the list, only one of them I feel was really timely, and it was the peanut butter and jelly M&Ms. The candy and cereal popcorn did 930 views, 34 views to be specific, and that was one that was just kind of like, well, this sounds good at the time, I'll give it a whirl and see what happens, and then it did very well. So thank you for watching that. It is a little surprising that it did that well. It's one of those kind of just head scratch, like head tilt moments of going like, that did that? What? That's very weird, but hey, I'll take it. The next one is hot chips. I don't know why I didn't describe that more. I believe it had like some hot Cheetos. You know what? I could pull it up. I'll pull it up just real quick because I have it. This one did 1,234 views. It's either a 4 or a 9. I feel like if it was a 4, I would have been more excited because 1, 2, 3, 4 is an incredible number, just kind of in general. Oh, I gotta blow this all the way up. Darn it. Let me see if I can pull this. Thankfully, it's very close to the top. Hot Pringles, hot Cheetos, oh my. So there you go. That was the second most popular video on the channel in 2024. And the number 1 video was a game that somehow is the oldest game on this list. It's Driver 2 Episode 2, The Jelly Truck. Because you have to drive a truck. I forget exactly what it is. I think it's a line that gets repeated because you have to restart the mission over and over and over and over again if you're bad like me. And the game is also very poorly designed. That was shocking. I was very surprised that that was the number 1 video from 2024. I don't know. It's such a weird smorgasbord. Obviously, the taste tests, they do very well. They make up, 40% of this list. That's fantastic. You have a couple of games that are new in there with Monster Hunter and Shadows of Doubt. And then you have a bunch of old Trails Through Daybreak was also new as well. And then the other 3 gameplay videos are very old. So it's this very weird thing where it just feels like it's difficult. I'm saying very too many times, so I'm trying to avoid it. It's so tricky to recognize what's going to pop off and what's going to work and get into like the search engines and whatever, all the boring behind the scenes stuff that kind of sucks to hear about. It feels at times completely unpredictable because you will put up, I mentioned the Red Bull, the Pink Edition Red Bull. You put up a video going like, this is day and date. I am early on it. I got incredibly lucky. I got to get this out and get it going. And then it just kind of goes like, nothing. Or here's these popcorn bags that the Beeb bought me 4 months ago. And then kabam, here it is. It's one of the top videos of the year. So I don't know. I thought that was a fun little exercise. One of the best parts about the top videos that I was looking at, you could just organize them by views in YouTube Studio. It shows you the initial 30, and then, you pick through and looking for numbers that end in 4. And so I expanded it a little bit more because I wasn't sure there were going to be 10. I think there were 15 in the top 30. That doesn't sound right. It was probably like 11 or 12. But in the top 50, there were a ton of videos from 2024, which is just, it's so wonderful to see that. upper echelon of videos has been so stagnant for so long. I don't. None of these are going to eclipse that, but it does feel good to see some fresh blood in, the top 10, top 15 videos that I've ever made. That's fantastic. So thank you all so much for watching. The one other piece of view news that I would want to share with you would be that Aeon Flux eclipsed 500,000 views this year. You want to talk about a video where you just go like, why is this hitting the way that this is hitting? That video is mind-boggling. I cannot believe where it is in view count. It actually has, like, I talked about the Monster Hunter beta having like a 12 point something, 17.6% like to dislike ratio. That video, 500,000 views, routine comments going, this was a trick. 75% video people giving the thumbs up. I don't think they watch very far because it has previews and I don't talk for the first 20 minutes. So I don't know, but it's just fascinating that video has done that well. And I thought that would be a fun piece of news to share with you. 500,000 views. I'm curious to see when it hits 1 million, because it's always one of the top viewed videos over the last 48 hours. Definitely peaks and valleys. It's like sometimes it's like 1.2 thousand views. Sometimes it's as low as like 300 or 400. So it's picking up views somehow still. So at some point 1 million, I would have a 1 million view video. That's an insane thought. It's still a ways out, but we'll see what happens. We'll keep track of it throughout the years. That'll do it. That's 2024. Great growth, great views on some of the videos, a pretty big scatter chart of games and things that went up that people, or that did well and people seem to enjoy. So minus the Monster Hunter, sorry. But that's 2024. Great growth and some solid top 10, some solid top 10 videos. And I think one video is already in the top 50 from this year, which is wild. There you go. Let's move on to 2025. Remember, we're keeping in mind a couple of things in regards to Shadows of Doubt in that video. And something else. Crap, I forgot it. Hopefully you remember. I forget what the other point was, but it'll all. But I bet it will click into place as we go through some stuff about 2025. First thing I'm going to hit on is the video schedule, just as far as the YouTube side of things. Videos are still going to post at 7 a.m. and baseball at 6 p.m. Obviously, that's a lot of content to consume. I have always run this channel as pick and choose what you want. If you just watch Taste Test, if you just watch baseball, if you just watch Mass Effect, whatever, that's fine. I don't care. I am doing what I find interesting, and if you find it interesting as well, that's awesome. If you don't and you want to watch something like certain or something specific, perfect. Thank you. Whatever view you give, whatever time you watch, that is appreciated by me, and I can't thank you enough. Please never ever feel like you have to consume everything that I put up. I highly doubt that there's anyone that feels that way, but if you do, if there's a person out there who's like, I gotta watch all their stuff, don't feel obligated. Like, just don't. There is not a single content creator that I follow that I watch every single one of their videos, and I would never want anyone to feel that way. So, just having said that, the schedule moving forward is going to stay largely the same. I have a couple of little caveats and a couple of little asterisks with them. So let's go through. We'll start with Monday because that is the easiest day to start with. I have really been enjoying Mass Effect inside the Legendary Collection. I've been playing Mass Effect 1 from 2006 or so. That game is great. It holds up remarkably well. Someone had pointed that out in a comment, and I was like, oh my goodness. You're right. I can't believe it. The game, the way that it feels just modern enough while it still has like some of those 2006 quirks is fantastic. So I'm going to continue playing that every Monday. Once we're done with Mass Effect 1, we'll move on to 2 and 3, and I'll likely at least check out Andromeda. Maybe I'll push myself to completing that as well, just so I can say that I have done it. The whole reason I started playing the game was because people were excited about Dragon Age, but I don't really like Dragon Age. They're moving on to Mass Effect, BioWare is, so what better time than to get that series started? I don't think we're going to hear about that game for a while, so I have probably a little bit of time. Probably a lot of bit of time, but yeah, I've been enjoying Mass Effect, so we'll go ahead and continue doing that on Mondays. Asterisk, we'll come back to that in a moment. Tuesdays, one of the 2 open, new game, random, whatever days of the week. This will most likely come down to, it will be new games for the most part. I can't imagine that it's going to be anything too wild and too crazy. However, I would like to leave these open so that I can post other things, just in case. Not as like I guess it'll make a little bit more sense when I go a little bit further into this, so I guess keep this pinned in your head, but I won't, because I already forgot the one point that I was trying to make. The point is that Tuesday, usually probably going to be new games, but if there is something else, some sort of vlog style content or IRL thing, that would be a spot where it would go up. So there you go with that. Wednesday, still taste test. That's going to go up twice a week, as it always, or as not as it always has, but as it has been recently. Wednesdays, Saturdays, taste tests, 7 a.m. Pacific time. So tune in for the weird, the wonderful, and limited edition. Easy peasy. Thursday, co-op with the Beeb. Still doing that, having fun. Bam. Easy peasy. Co-op on Thursdays. Fridays are other open day, and that is same sort of reservation as a Tuesday. New games, whatever, kind of random. If I think of something, I have a couple of videos like saved that are like guess the movie shot based on like a wide shot. Like guess the movie based on the wide shot, that it could be kind of fun, more gamey sort of things. If there's something that isn't really sticking out from a gameplay perspective, should probably backlog a couple of those, but that's a separate problem for a different day, because those aren't time sensitive, whereas some of the gameplay stuff can be, because it's like brand new, whatever. So yeah, maybe I'll get more experimental with those as the year goes on. I probably should be a little bit more aggressive in trying to be a little bit more variant in some of the content offerings that I do, but sometimes it's just, we play a game. I don't know. I have 2 slots that are open. That helps me with having 5 days that are essentially locked in. And I know I haven't talked about one of them yet, but having 5 days that are locked into a specific series or a specific style or a specific thing is super helpful, because once those days start opening up, it's like my brain I get overwhelmed going like, I have to come up with 4 video ideas. But if I play Mass Effect, or if I have the Sunday series going, hey, that's suddenly down to 2. Or I guess technically it would be 7, but then taste test, and then you would get rid of but you'd go co-op, Mass Effect, Sunday series, 2. That's a much more manageable number. Speaking of Sundays, Sunday for a long while was the Driver series. I played 4 of those games, and I think they kind of just went straight into 1 to 2 to 3 to parallel lines. It was supposed to go into 76 and then go into San Francisco, and I think I would have been able to do it by the end of the year, even though I got sick. Unfortunately for me, 2 things are true here. 1, I don't have a PSP or the applicable accessories to hook the PSP up to a converter that takes it from SD to HD to into the Elgato, into OBS, blah, blah, blah. Did not have that. Thought it was in this apartment, looked around for a little bit, couldn't find it, and went, this is unfortunate. So I haven't been able to find a PSP or replace that PSP because I guess I only really tried the one spot, but I haven't been able to get that together. So Driver 76 and Driver San Francisco have been on the back burner. The second part of that is Driver San Francisco is shockingly expensive. It's like $45. Don't know that I need to pay that much for that game. There might be a copy rolling around here somewhere, because I know I had one at one point, and I think because the Beeb and I played a bunch of the multiplayer online together because we had a lot of fun with it. There might be a copy somewhere in this apartment, so I need to do a little bit more investigative work, but I think I would have seen it recently, so I don't know. It's at this point, it is a financial hurdle to buy a PSP, the cords to get it to run into OBS, the memory card so that I don't have to play it in one shot, and the cost of Driver San Francisco is all kind of like, yeesh, not now. We'll get to it, and that will be Sunday. Sunday, we will be returning to the Driver franchise and retro franchises in general throughout the year. That will be starting on March 30th. We'll do Driver 76, we'll do Driver San Francisco, and then depending on how long that takes, we're going to be rolling into Red Dead Redemption. Red Dead Redemption is probably, I guess, I don't know what the technical term for retro game is. Doesn't matter because the game celebrates its 15th anniversary this year. So I'm going to do a complete playthrough. I actually bought the PS4 version because it has a fresh trophy list. So I'm excited to do that. I'll be playing Red Dead Redemption start to finish on the channel Sundays. When that is done, we'll see what kind of time we have, and then we'll move into something else. I've written down a bunch of different games that I would like to try, and I had a couple of ideas the other day. Of maybe even a studio that we could look at, like Raven Software specifically. They did like a Wolfenstein game in 2009. They did X-Men Origins Wolverine, and I think like 2011 they did a weird game called Singularity. I think or Wolverine, whatever, it doesn't matter. Point is, there's lots of stuff to check out, lots of retro stuff that I have retro series that I have either partially played or completed a couple of the games or haven't really touched at all that I would like to get to. So that'll be Sunday, and that'll be starting on March 30th. Why March 30th, you might be asking? Well, where was I going with that? Oh, because March Mascot Madness is back. That's right. March 2nd will be the return of March Mascot Madness on youtube.com/Seannosaurus Rex. Brackets will be available Sunday, February 2nd. So you'll be able to come to youtube.com/Seannosaurus Rex, 7 a.m. That video will post. It'll be the bracket reveal. I'll take you through all the matchups. You'll see all the mascots. If you want, you could even take your monitor and then put one window kind of small and then the other window kind of small, and you can just make the picks as we go along. It's going to be fun. I love doing March Mascot Madness. We're going to bring it back yet again. Pick Louisville, I would assume, unless I ban them from the tournament. But you'll have to tune in to find out what those matchups are. Brackets will close March 1st at around noon Pacific time. So just keep that in mind. There will likely be a video that is like a last-ditch reminder that goes up February 28th. That's maybe a couple of matchups. Kind of just running through the tournament or the bracket again, just really quickly. I like doing that, of doing the bracket reveal, and then a little bit later in the month with a last second reminder of hey, fill this out, do that. So there you go. What is next on my list? Oh, I also wanted to mention that one of the other retro games that I'm going to play is, or it's not really technically retro, but it turns 10 years old this year. Until Dawn will be up in October, and then that will go right into Undead Nightmare, which is also 15 years old. That is part of Red Dead Redemption, so that is very exciting. I can't believe I forgot about that. There's also with a ton of games. It's 2005 games are 20 years old, so Wallace and Gromit, Curse of the Were-Rabbit, anybody? Full playthrough coming soon to the channel, so check that out. Let's see, what else do I have here on my notes? Oh, my sub hopes for the year would be, I think we should knock through 3,000 super easily. I'd love to see 3,500 by the end of the year. The super stretch goal would be to hit that 4K number. I think that is way too lofty because didn't even hit it last year, and it was technically closer to the next 1,000 than this time when we started. So hopefully we can get to 3,500 by the end of the year. And like I was talking about earlier, sometimes it feels like it's such a crapshoot when I'm putting up content. Hopefully I can put up content that you're interested in and you're enjoying watching. But sometimes it also just feels like, who knows what's going to hit? Would I have ever guessed that Arena Football would do better than some of the games that I put up the literal next day that they, after they came out? No, I never would have done that. It's wild. Okay. What are we doing here? What do we got? Oh. Third and final point here for actually third of four. I forgot that there's one more thing coming up. Third of 4 points. I have a couple of items that I'm hoping to pick up this year to make the content more interesting and hopefully make it more varied. I talked a little bit about that when talking about Tuesdays and Fridays having it open. The first item that I would like to get would bring back streaming to twitch.tv/Seannosaurus Rex. My computer, my laptop, has been an absolute trooper for the last 6 years that I've had it. I recorded on a desktop PC for a while, but it just does not work. I did that first year on it, and then I moved to the laptop to be able to be portable, I guess. And then I think there was probably some thought of like, oh, I'll do some work in the living room, and I don't think I ever did that. Doesn't matter. I did streams and recording sometimes in the living room, but it wasn't like I'm sitting there watching TV editing. That was two different thoughts, and whatever. This computer has been kind of on its last legs for a while. I did a complete reset last year and ran some streams for a little bit, but it kept breaking and I'd lose the raw footage, and then it wouldn't let me stream and record the file at the same time, and it would break and I'd have to download and edit and blah blah blah. And it just added a couple extra steps that I personally didn't want to deal with, so I just stopped worrying about the stream stuff and just keep recording offline. I would like to change that this year, ideally, and I don't know how realistic this goal is or this possibly could be. I'd like to get that stream up and running by March 1st so that the March Mascot Madness thing you can follow along live. I think there's a little bit of wind taken out of the sails if you can't like check the brackets as it's going along and not be spoiled. So that is goal number 1, desktop PC. I'm open to suggestions, by the way, down in the comment section below. If you have like some good links, some legitimate links of some cool stuff, I would appreciate that. Item number 2 on the list is a lapel microphone. One of the things that I did last year that I really enjoyed was going out and about and doing some on-location taste tests. But they're a little bit tricky because I have a GoPro. I think it's sitting behind me. But I just have the GoPro and it has the add-on that has the microphone. But if I wanted to, say, put you on my shoulder and make it more of a vlog style video, the audio might not sound super great. A lapel microphone would make it so that it would be a more consistent audio source. The audio would be better and not pick up, hopefully, as much around, because the Post Falls Festival, the first video specifically, we were pretty close to the speakers, so it was a lot of background noise in there. So that would be what I would like to do. It would open up the ability to do some like vlog style content. So for example, we go to the Post Falls Festival, we go to Pig Out in the Park. We even did the one in Yakima at Whiny Dogs, which were all very well viewed, and I'm super happy about that. Because it makes me feel like looking at the views on those, it's not as many as some of the other stuff. I get that. But there is something in my head that clicks and goes, maybe people do go like, oh, what's he doing? What's Sean doing today? Why is he here? What's this? It's kind of funky and kind of weird. Obviously, you want the big items to draw people in, and then hopefully they'll stick around and then, care enough to go like, oh, shoot, he's got like a hot dog thing? Oh, I'll click on that video. That sort of thing. It would make those types of videos way more, applicable is not the right word, but it's the one that's stuck in my head. It would make them way more available. I'm stuck in the A's. It's not what I want. It doesn't matter. Way more plausible. I think that all around it would make a better taste test content that opens the door to making other types of IRL content. So that is the second thing that I would like to do, because there was, not only can I go back to the Post Falls Festival or go back to Pig Out in the Park, there's a ton of food events that happen that I kind of like missed out on. Bite of Seattle I would love to go to. There was a second one over in Seattle. There was a mac and cheese festival last weekend. That one was a bit of a pain to look at because you have to like buy flights, and it was really, really dumbly set up. And it was like, I looked at it and I was like, I don't really understand this, and I don't really want to put in the effort, because you have to buy you're buying like a lunch flight that's like, you get 4 tickets. And I'm like, why are you giving me just 4 tickets? This should be free admission. I understand it's January, but just let people come in, buy some macaroni and cheese. I have money, but I don't need to spend $40 to get in the door for 4 vouchers. What if there's a 5th that I want to try? But then I understand it, because some of it were on a cruise and the other one, Ugh, it's annoying. Anyway, point is, I'd like to do more on-location taste tests throughout the year at various events, and a lapel microphone I think would be helpful. Again, suggestions down in the comment section below. If you have a good one, that would work. The last thing would be a Steam Deck. I'd like to incorporate some level of PC gaming on here, and as you saw with TCG Card Shop Simulator, which is a great example, it doesn't run super well on my PC in the first place. You can't see that, but I can. Then I run OBS recording at the same time, and it drags it down even further. Then you get further in the game, and there's more crap in the game, so that drags it down even further, and it's just a nightmare. A Steam Deck would open up the ability to, and this is where the Shadows of Doubt thing is going to come into play, it would open up the ability to be a bit more timely with some of the things that I'm interested in. I don't have the capabilities to record and stream that, and I know that the Beeb really wanted to watch that, and she participated in the video. It would have been cool to do that back in May rather than waiting for a console release in September. Even if it doesn't run super well on a Steam Deck or a ROG Ally or whatever it is, that's still valuable information to people who might be looking at that, because I can put it up as Shadows of Doubt gameplay. In brackets go ROG Ally or Steam Deck gameplay, and hopefully be more informative and be entertaining of like, does this work and what's wrong with it, and maybe give some more of a long form sort of thing. So there's a timeliness aspect to it that I think would help. They also do Steam Next Fest demo stuff throughout the year that I would love to try, because I love doing the demo events. I do all the Xbox ones. I think there's a lot of advantages for the types of games that I would want to play. TCG, I punched my table on accident. TCG Card Shop Simulator was one of my favorite games of last year, and I would have loved to have done more content with it, because it is a fun and engaging, interesting game to watch because of the pack ripping. But I just wasn't able to, and I kind of had to abandon that dream. But a Steam Deck, maybe that would work, or a ROG Ally or whatever. I do know that that may not be the best pull, just in the context that that game wasn't super well optimized for PC, so that could have been part of the problem. But I still think that, you know, me running a PC game and then trying to run OBS on top of it is kind of just a recipe for a nightmare, and that's what we got. So not only does, you know, it gives us the opportunity to be timely, maybe sometimes games are a little expensive, and maybe it's kind of, you know, allegedly we can use that for that. But that's all I'll say. Because, you know, something like Driver 3D Renegade is a 3DS exclusive that's stuck on the 3DS. And I don't know how to do that. So maybe the Steam Deck would be able to help. So there you go. Those are some of they're very mild, very light changes. They are a little bit more behind the scenes sort of things of, you know, using a different type of PC or a lapel microphone or even a Steam Deck. Doesn't necessarily affect the viewer, but I do think it adds, each of those pieces adds a little bit to the content that can be more timely, that can be more varied and interesting, more inventive, or just, you know, on location with the lapel microphone stuff. So those are some of the goals. I'd love to see us hit, you know, 3,500 subscribers. I'd love to bring Twitch streaming back. I'd love to see you fill out a bracket for March Mascot Madness. Please do it. You'll be able to get a video here soon. It'll be up about a week. So mark your calendars, turn notifications on if you haven't already considered, you know, subscribing, or you haven't subscribed or whatever. Please consider doing so down there below. Ring the bell. You'll be notified when I post new videos, and, you know, watch what you want. Speaking of watching things, we're going to watch the original Week in Review episode, one of the very first videos I ever posted on the channel, right after a quick break where I blow my nose. All right, we're back. We're ready. We're ready. Nose clear, thoughts empty, head empty. My head's always empty, so that's not really a change. Here is the Week in Review playlist. That's the wrong side. This is the correct side. All 151 videos are here. Technically, there's only 150 episodes, but I did double label one because I was being stubborn. And the trailer makes 151. We're going to watch this. I don't think I'm going to have the volume super loud because I'm going to be talking over it. And now realizing that one of the goals I should have for 2025 is some shelving behind me, not just boxes of crap stacked on each other. Is that where that one thing would be? Oh, I was looking for something the other day and I couldn't find it. I wonder if it's in that box. It doesn't matter. I don't even remember what I was looking for. But yeah, this is the original series that I did. And so I like to kind of watch the first episode just for fun, to compare, contrast. So yeah, shelving should be item number, what did I say, 4? 4 items. So item number 5, some shelving / decoration in the background. So here we go.
Inaugural episode of Weekend Review. My name is Sean.
Okay, I don't know why that didn't work.
About The Post, Proud Mary,
The Post,
NBA Playgrounds, Batman Arkham Asylum.
So I think about this a lot, and I always forget that NBA Playgrounds is in there. That's such a weird one.
This week is The Post.
See how much better that looks than like just a random wall in the back? Boy, this video doesn't look super great, huh?
I think this movie has a lot going for it that's very positive.
Sure.
I think it has a few drawbacks.
I don't know. I don't know if I even have that beanie anymore.
One makes me excited about the prospect.
It's just
of
so
more
much.
Printing press.
It's a little cluttered. It's a lot of movies and seasons. There's 2 seasons of Smallville back there for some reason. So The Post is the first thing that I reviewed. I feel like I'm surprised by that every single time.
It tracked through the.
So why did the
writers room
audio popped there?
But it follows down aisles.
One of the interesting things that I noticed, and maybe it's the microphone that I used. I'm going to turn myself down just a touch in video. I think one of the things that I noticed, and it might have been the microphone that I used, but I didn't talk very loudly, and I can't tell if it's like am I tentative and hesitant based on just filming, or do I not want to be too loud just in the room or whatever? It's kind of weird. I was surprised by that. I was doing the what's it called? I did the video that I think I overhyped a little bit. The oh my god. The voodoo video, and I went back and I'm like, I gotta edit this audio. I have to figure out how to try and balance this to the best of my ability.
Washington, specifically with Tom Hanks' character and John F. Kennedy, how does that affect their coverage of them in the newspaper? They kind of
some seasons of Breaking Bad. I think that's the whole series back there. Oh, season 1 of Bob's Burgers, I think, is back there as well. I'm just locked in on that. What's this nerd talking about? The Post is a very good movie. I don't think about it often. I'm always reminded of it when I watch this, and I go, oh yeah, that was a movie that I saw. It's so weird. I think maybe the weirder movie. There's 2 really weird. Actually, this is a really odd debut. It's a game from 2009 in Batman Arkham Asylum. I think 2K Playgrounds was new at the time. I think, but I'm not really sure. And then Proud Mary is a movie that came and went, and a movie that I completely forgot about. I like Taraji P. Henson and everything, but I completely forget that movie exists.
It's a super weird ending sequence that I didn't quite understand. Again, I don't know a ton about this time period, so it's
still don't know a ton about this time period. I'm also wearing the same glasses.
There's tons of people out there.
Okay, let's add another thing into the 2025 list. Let's get some new glasses. That's a good thing to do.
For me personally,
don't worry, I have the ability to. I just haven't.
It threw me off a little bit because I just wasn't exactly sure what they were trying to get at.
I do think I understand the ending of the movie a little bit more. If I remember the ending of The Post correctly, it ends right at the Watergate scandal. And again, if I remember correctly, or if I had listened to myself in this video, I think it was about, because Nixon broke into Watergate, or had people break into Watergate, the Democratic thing. National Convention? Was that what it was?
I think that.
So the movie follows this. This is going to sound. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and I apologize. I think it. If I remember correctly, it followed the attempted silencing of media or the news press by a president that then tried to illegally get information so that they would suppress the story, I think would be that sort of thing. Either they shut the paper down or they discredit it enough to where people wouldn't believe what actually happened. If that makes sense. So I think that clicks a little bit more. Obviously, hey, 7 years you're going to learn some stuff or see some things in the real world that kind of go like, oh shoot, okay, now I kind of understand the context of this in, you know, a movie or a historical event or whatever, and you go, oh, okay, this is why they say you should learn from history so you don't repeat the past. There you go.
Overall, I think it's fine. I don't.
Overall, it's fine.
Out and see it, but if you're interested, maybe check it out. You don't have to necessarily.
I still say that a lot. If you're interested, check it out. I feel that even now, 7 years later, I still have hesitancy being convicted of, like, hey, go check this out. Because I don't want people to, like, be mad. I don't want people, somebody was like, had commented on the Pop-Tart video of, like, I don't usually like Pop-Tarts, but I might try these out because you like them. And I'm like, hey, if you don't like it, I'll give you $5. Like, please, please, don't feel like you wasted your money because of me. NBA 2K Playgrounds wants to be NBA Street so bad, but it's like just awful. It's not awful. It just doesn't work. Is that pig thing a pin back there? I got a whole pin bag I could use for that. I think, yeah, because 2K Playgrounds 2 came out. Well, NBA Playgrounds came out, and then it got bought by 2K when they, I think around the time they had announced the sequel.
There were a lot of times where I felt
It's
like I was in position to block
interesting.
the shot or affect the shot or whatever.
I can't. It's hard to know if it wants to be NBA Street or NBA Jam, but it's stiff and bad. Both of those arcade games have a flow and a feel to them that are so much better than 2K Playgrounds.
Another gripe I have with this game.
Another gripe.
Punishes you for shooting threes.
Punishes for shooting threes.
Top right or top left-hand corner, depending on which team you're on. That fills up when you do.
One thing that, looking back on this, I probably should have tried to find more B-roll, whether it be trailers or. I wouldn't have had the ability to record gameplay at this time because I didn't have. I guess if I was playing on PS4, I could have done that. It would have required a little extra editing. And I usually would end up recording these on Monday nights. They would go up Tuesday, or supposed to go up Tuesday. And so I would record them Monday night, and I would get frustrated during the recording, and then I would have to edit it and try and get it, ready for Tuesday morning. But I didn't understand how YouTube scheduling worked, which is kind of funny. Because now I, like, schedule videos out, like, days or sometimes, in rare cases, like, weeks in advance. But it's a weird situation where I just didn't understand how scheduling a YouTube video works. So videos would just go up at like 2:35 in the morning, and it'd be like, oh, okay. And then I would push it in the morning. I would go like, hey, check this out. It's up now. And that's very weird because now everything goes up at a pretty specific time unless I make a mistake. Which I made a mistake recently. I made a mistake on the second episode of the Vanity Fair, the project or whatever it was. I accidentally set that for 6 p.m. Maybe I'm too good at scheduling content. Moses Malone. I talk a lot with my hands. I have a problem with this desk because I don't have a problem with the desk. The desk is great. Thank you for the desk. But I have to move the keyboard thing in and out, and sometimes I don't move it far enough, so my hands like slam into it, and that's not fun. I did it once in this video, but I do tend to, especially when I do taste test, I start with my hands out of frame, and then by the time for some reason I've been pointing and then tapping like either my hat if I'm wearing it or my nose. You can watch me try the Weird, the Wonderful, and the limited edition, and then my hands start to really come into play. And then I end up just holding stuff for a while. It's very weird. I notice it when I'm recording. I'm like, oh man, you're doing two things weird here. You're just holding this, and you're talking way too much. So there's that.
So look for more reviews on that stuff in the future. But right now, Arkham Asylum is 2 big thumbs up.
Arkham Asylum's 2 big thumbs up, and you've known that since 2009, Sean. That game rules. Oh, the strawberry milkshake Pop-Tarts. These are still out. These exist. It was back then. I need to go through, and I would need to either download every week in review that I don't have, either from YouTube, or pull the hard drive from the desktop computer that I hopefully still have access to, And what I would like to do is pull every single limited edition and put that in a video as like a taste test, like a bonus taste test. It's like, here's every limited edition that I did in 150 episodes. There are not 150 of them, because if you don't know, the reason this show exists in the format that it does is I have a lot of trouble when you tell me to only do one thing. I completely lose interest in it. I always talk about my mom. I talk about the story where my mom tells me that I used to love reading when I was a kid, when I was really little. And then when I got to school, it became an assignment, and you could not pay me to read a book. And that led to 8th grade when I had to read Johnny Tremaine on a Saturday, because I just put it off for so long. It was awful. That book sucks. Anyway, the reason that there aren't 151 limited editions is because I didn't do it every single time, because as soon as that becomes a task, I lose interest in it. So the reason that the Week in Review is designed as movies and games and limited edition items, if applicable, is if I don't want to play a game, I will just go watch movies. If I don't want to watch movies, I'll just go play games. If I don't have much of either, maybe I go try to find a funky item to try. Taste Test gets spun out from this show. Basically, like, that would be the longest lineage, would be Week in Review. The limited edition segments getting spun out into Taste Tests, so that's why it is.
The Shape of Water, which
Shape of Water, still haven't seen it.
In smaller or larger markets.
Almost went.
In larger markets.
Probably right around this time.
I didn't really care about this movie.
I would have probably gone to see it.
Before,
I know that sounds weird because I said that
so maybe
it's coming out in the video, but
13 Academy Award nominations.
13 Academy Award nominations. Oh, that's right. These always end up right around the Academy. The Academy Awards got announced today. Killing of a Sacred Deer. I still have not seen it.
Movie by the director
It is
Lobster.
Yargos Lymph.
More of like a psychological horror.
I don't know how to pronounce his name. I watched. He did The Favorite, which I think is one of my, no pun intended, favorite movies of 2019, 2018, 2019.
On the game side, there's one game coming
One
up this
game.
week. It's Telltale's Batman Season 2, Episode 4. Yes,
That is one of the funkier reviews that I did, was
what I'm looking forward to.
without
I'll probably actually
prefacing the previous 3 episodes of Batman, the Telltale series, Season 2. I reviewed that one. Now I think it's in episode number 2. There was, for some weird reason, there's 4, I think, straight episodes where there's a Batman-related review. I don't know why.
I'm just kind of pointing. Hit that.
Just a weird coincidence and coinky-dink, I guess.
As I make videos for your entertainment.
I still do that. Still move my hands around way too much.
Movie and game coverage.
I use my hands to display more now, but I don't do this quite as much. But I still kind of do. Oh boy, I let this go, huh? I let that go. All right. Well, there you go. Proud debut, episode 1 of Week in Review. A look back, as we take a look all the way back at one of the first videos that I posted, and then you get to immediately see me now, 7 years in. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you watching, subscribing. I said it a little bit earlier that I had already thanked you a bunch, and I will probably do it again a bunch, and this is that segment. I love making content. This is, I think, what people... I think this is kind of how... I think this is what... My commitment to this, I think, is sometimes what I think people see when they would tell me to apply myself. Because I put out videos every day, unless I am sick, which has been brutal lately. The ends of the last couple of years, I get sick like right at the end of the year, and that's about the only time I don't put out videos. I guess there is the technical problems as well. So, yeah, I have been able to apply myself to this for a very long time and make a bunch of different kinds of stuff. We could review for about 3 years, a lot of gameplay videos, various series, and all that. And it's been a lot of fun. So hopefully you can, or hopefully you enjoy it. Hopefully it's fun to watch. Hopefully it's interesting to watch. And I'll be making content for the foreseeable future. No reason to stop now. Having a good time doing it, so why not? I just realized, by the way, that I had a fourth thing that I needed to talk about in the previous part. I watched that entire video and I got ready to do the outro, and I forgot. I forgot to do that. The fourth and final piece of the information that I wanted to give you was I have a couple of ideas for some bigger like event type videos or streams. The first event type stream is something that I tinkered with back in 2023, and it was a taste test Thanksgiving feast where I would and I don't know how to do this, so I need to do a little bit more research. What I either need to do is figure out if there's a plugin for OBS to like just play videos from a file in a specific order, or I need to import every single taste test I've ever made and every other piece of content that I want in that into Adobe and then export that. Now, because I have made well over 240 episodes of Taste Test, it is multiple days. It is so long. So the prospect of that is a little daunting to put all that work together and then export it and then just basically run it through OBS into a Twitch or YouTube stream, maybe both. So that is one of the ideas I had. I tinkered with it in 2023. I think it was on Thanksgiving, I started a taste test marathon. But I did not have YouTube Premium at the time, which means that once you watch, I think about 4 hours of video, it stops because it doesn't want to pay out like the ad revenue to someone who isn't there. But I think Premium doesn't matter because they're already getting $14 a month or whatever it is for me. So I would be able to run that. But what I would like to do is run it with ads in there, and that's why the Adobe thing comes into play. Is I'd like to basically run an episode of it, run a couple of old ads, see if I can find stuff on Blu-rays, DVDs, demo discs, a bunch of just random assortment of stuff to just kind of throw in there. That way you can get up. It's not really designed to be locked in and watching. It is just like, hey, throw it in the background, do whatever you're doing, and it would run from like a Tuesday to a Friday, let's say. I don't know exactly what the time is. There was a day I spent, and after there was one day I came home from work when I was working over in the Silver Valley, and I sat and wrote in a notepad every single taste test. I think there were about 155 at the time, something like that. I wrote every single taste test, every single time, like recording time, and then did math to figure out how long it was. And I think it was, at that point, it was like 120 hours or something like that. That doesn't sound right. I think it might have been closer to like 70 or 80 hours. I can't remember. I don't know if I have that notepad still, but yeah, there's a lot, so that makes that a pretty daunting task. I would need to probably realistically start working on it now. And some of the aspect ratios are all goofed up, so some of it's going to look a little bit funky. But if there is the ability, I would probably have to render it out in Adobe regardless. Because if you have a video that's scaled at 720, but you're broadcasting in 1080, does it automatically convert, or would I have to auto convert it? Just thought of that problem. Just that's what talking does sometimes. It helps. So I would probably have to create the playlist in the thing either way, or I would just run it on YouTube, run that playlist, and then whatever. It doesn't matter. The point is that is one of the things I was tinkering with. The other idea that I was tinkering with, and this goes back to me being sick at the end of the year, was to try and combat that, was to come up with top 10 lists. I didn't watch a ton of movies last year. I'd like to watch more movies this year. I played a lot of games, but I don't know that I had 10 games that I could like really think of as a top 10 list. So I'm going to try and keep track a little bit better this year. And then basically the final Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of the year would be my top 10 games, movies, and taste test items. And with the taste test one specifically, because I record those throughout the year, I'd be able to probably splice in the videos, and so you'd get like a complete package that would run however long it would run, and then I would try to talk about the movies and games as I see them or play them, and then compile that, and then you'd have 3 videos just kind of locked and loaded for it. The caveat to it would be first plays or first viewings for the movie, first plays for games and first viewings for movies. So even if it's something from a while ago or last year or whatever, hey, this was a fresh experience for me. So like if Mass Effect 2 is my number 3 game of the year, it's like, well, that game came out in 2010. I've never played it. I've never touched that game in a sense of like actually playing. I'm sure I've picked up the case before, but that was kind of what I was thinking, just to make sure that there's at least something, because even if I'm sick and all the legwork is done, I can still export it, because the chances of me watching a new movie or eating a new food or, you know, playing a brand new game, pretty minimal. So that would be a good way to make sure that there's some of that video stuff down at the end. Or also would, you know, could give me an opportunity to take time off at the end of the year and just kind of make sure that I reset for the next year of content, and all that stuff. So there you go. Sorry that part got pushed all the way to the end. That wasn't intentional. I just got kind of into a role, and this is actually like the 3rd time. Here's a little peek behind the curtain. This is like the 3rd time I have recorded this video, and it went really well. I don't even think I'm going to worry about editing it. I'm just going to let it roll, and I'll just throw up the video. So there you go. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for listening. I know it's very wordy. It's very talky. I tend to talk a lot, but I like explaining myself. I like giving peeks behind the curtains and you know, revealing the thought process behind the stuff and trying to explain that sort of thing. It's just what I like to do around this time of year. So there you go. We'll do this again next year for the 8th anniversary of the channel. Look forward to all kinds of content here every day on youtube.com/Seannosaurus Rex. If you'd like to watch more, subscribe right over here. You can ring the bell down below. You'll be notified when I post new videos. I will throw up last year's video, or maybe just something random. I don't really know what to do there. Maybe it'll just be, you know what, I'll do a best for you, and that'll give you a suggestion to click on. Baseball posted in the evenings, so you can check that out. We're almost done with our 2K5 season. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate it. We will catch you we'll catch you another day in a different video. We'll see you next year for another one of these, and be sure to fill out a March Mascot Madness bracket February 2nd right here on the channel. It's technically on Challenge, but there'll be a link for that later. Anyway, thanks again for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. We'll see you next time. Goodbye, everybody, and thank you all so much for your incredible support.